I never imagined I'd be the guy airing his dirty laundry on Reddit, but life is a way of humbling you. My wife, Lisa, and I had been together for 3 years, married for just over 1. On paper, we were the perfect couple. 2 young professionals in Denver, working stable marketing jobs, sharing an apartment that felt like home. It wasn't extravagant, but it was ours. Lisa was magnetic. From the moment I met her, I couldn't take my eyes off her. She had this energy about her. Confidence mixed with a kind of effortless charm that pulled everyone in. At parties, she was always the center of attention, the one everyone wanted to talk to. I used to love that about her. Watching her light up a room made me feel lucky. But being with someone like Lisa also came with challenges. She was intense in every sense of the word. Fun, exciting, but also fiery. When things were good, they were incredible. When things weren't, well, let's just say Lisa wasn't one to hold back. She'd let me have it if she was upset, throwing accusations my way about how I didn't take life seriously enough or how I didn't understand her ambitions. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've always been more laid back, maybe to a fault. I'm the type of guy who's content with the simple things, a cold beer after work, a good movie on the couch, and maybe some football on Sundays. Lisa, on the other hand, thrived on excitement. She loved big nights out, crowded parties, and impromptu weekend plans. She'd get restless if things got too predictable, and I think a part of her saw me as too safe. Still, we made it work, or at least I thought we did. Our differences felt like a balancing act. Her energy pushed me out of my comfort zone, and my calm grounded her. That's what I told myself anyway. We both worked hard, and our jobs weren't exactly easy. I'd often come home drained after a long day of pitching campaigns or chasing deadlines, and Lisa would walk in with her own stories of office drama and client demands. Despite the stress, we always found ways to decompress. Some weekends, we'd go hiking in the Rockies or grab brunch at our favorite spot downtown. Other times, we'd hit up a friend's party or just stay in with a bottle of wine. Lisa loved the social scene. She had this way of making people feel special, like they were the only person in the room. Everyone loved her, and honestly, I couldn't blame them. She was smart, funny, and effortlessly beautiful. I used to watch her work a room and feel proud to call her my wife. But there were moments, even early on, when I noticed how much she thrived on attention. Not just from me, but from anyone. At parties, she'd laugh a little too hard at other men's jokes or linger in conversations just a little longer than necessary. It wasn't enough to make me suspicious, but it was enough to notice. I'd bring it up once in a while, jokingly, and she'd brush it off with a laugh and a kiss, telling me I had nothing to worry about. I believed her. Looking back, there were signs I ignored. The late nights out with coworkers that didn't always add up, the text she'd quickly swipe away when I asked who it was, the time she'd come home smelling like a mix of perfume and something I couldn't quite place. I chalked it up to paranoia. Lisa had never given me a concrete reason to doubt her, and I wasn't about to start questioning her over little things. When we were good, we were great. Lisa had a way of making me feel like I was the only person that mattered when it was just the two of us. We'd talk for hours, make plans for the future, and dream about trips we'd take someday. She wanted to travel more, Italy, Greece, maybe even Bali, and I was all in. I thought those dreams were ours, that we were building a life together. The arguments were rare but intense. Lisa could be explosive. If she was upset, it was like a storm rolling in. She'd lash out, throwing accusations that felt like they came out of nowhere. I'd sit there, trying to stay calm, letting her vent until the storm passed. Then, just as quickly as it started, she'd be fine again, as if nothing had happened. It was exhausting, but I always told myself it was just her passion, that fiery side of her that made her who she was. I trusted Lisa. Even when things weren't perfect, I never doubted her loyalty. Sure, she could be flirty, but I figured that was just her personality. She was outgoing and confident, and I didn't want to be the insecure husband who tried to rein her in. I thought giving her space was the right thing to do, that it would make our relationship stronger. If you'd asked me a month ago, I would have said we were happy. I thought we had the kind of marriage where we could weather anything, the kind of bond that couldn't be shaken by small things. But as I'd soon find out, everything I believed was a lie. Lisa and I loved going to parties. They were a chance for us to unwind, to step away from the stress of our jobs and reconnect with friends. We weren't wild partiers by any means, but a couple of drinks, some music, and good company, that was our sweet spot. So when Lisa mentioned an upcoming party hosted by her coworker, Jen, I didn't think much of it. She brought it up over dinner one night. Hey, Mark, Jen and Todd are throwing a party this weekend at their house in Cherry Creek. You know, the couple I told you about? Their place is incredible. It's supposed to be huge. Everyone from work is going. Lisa's eyes lit up as she spoke, her excitement contagious. I smiled and nodded. Sure, sounds fun. We haven't been out in a while. The days leading up to the party were hectic for both of us. Work had been relentless. Meetings that dragged on for hours, emails that never seemed to stop, and deadlines looming over our heads. We'd both been exhausted, so the idea of blowing off some steam at a party sounded like exactly what we needed. Lisa, as always, took charge of the planning. All week, she talked about the party, what we'd wear, who'd be there, how nice it'd be to catch up with people she hadn't seen in months. I'm thinking of wearing that black dress, she said one night while scrolling through her phone on the couch. The one you like, with the lace. I glanced up, smirking. The one that makes people stare at you? Lisa grinned. Jealous? Always, I teased, though it wasn't entirely true. I loved seeing her in that dress. She looked stunning in it, but sometimes her love of attention made me uneasy. Still, I trusted her. Lisa might have been flirtatious, but she'd always been clear about her boundaries, and I respected that about her. The plan was simple. We'd head to the party together, have a good time, and leave around midnight. That was how these things usually went. But by Thursday, everything changed. A major project at work had gone off the rails, and suddenly, I found myself buried in chaos. My boss was breathing down my neck, demanding revisions to a presentation that was due first thing Monday morning. I was pulling late nights at the office, trying to salvage the situation, and by Friday, it was clear I wasn't going to make the party. I hate to do this, I told Lisa that night, but I'm going to have to bail on the party tomorrow. The presentation's a mess, and I got to fix it before Monday. Lisa's face fell. Mark, seriously? You've been working nonstop. Can't you just finish it Sunday? I shook my head. If I leave it, it's just going to hang over me all weekend. I'll be useless at the party if I'm thinking about work the whole time. You should still go, though. You've been looking forward to it. She hesitated, chewing her lip the way she always did when she was trying to hold back frustration. You're sure? I don't want to go without you. Of course I'm sure, I said. Go have fun. You deserve it. Her face softened, and she leaned over to kiss me. You're the best. I'll let Jen know I'm still coming. The day of the party, Lisa was in full prep mode. She had a hair appointment in the morning and came back with her blonde waves styled to perfection. By late afternoon, she was in the bathroom, meticulously applying her makeup and slipping into the black lace dress she'd mentioned earlier. How do I look? She asked, stepping into the living room and doing a slow spin. She looked breathtaking. The dress hugged her body in all the right places, and her heels made her legs look impossibly long. You look incredible, I said honestly. They're going to think you walked off the cover of a magazine. Lisa laughed, grabbing her clutch from the counter. Don't wait up, okay? If it gets late, I might just crash at Jen's. She has a guest room, and it's better than driving home tired. Yeah, makes sense, I said. Just text me, so I know you're safe. She nodded, kissed me on the cheek, and headed out the door. The apartment felt strangely quiet after she left. I poured myself a beer and settled in at my desk, determined to make some progress on my presentation. By 9 p.m., I was still deep in work mode, but I checked my phone, wondering if Lisa had sent any updates. Nothing. I figured she was just caught up in the party. It wasn't unusual for her to lose track of time when she was having fun. At 10 p.m., still no word. I sent her a quick text. Hey, how's the party? Hope you're having fun. No response. By midnight, I was starting to feel uneasy. Lisa and I had an unspoken rule when it came to parties. We almost always left by midnight, no matter how much fun we were having. I told myself not to overthink it. She'd said she might stay overnight at Jen's, and maybe she'd just forgotten to text me. Still, I couldn't shake the nagging feeling in the back of my mind. I sent another text, just checking in. Let me know you're okay. I even tried calling, but it went straight to voicemail. By 12:30 a.m., I gave up. She was probably just drunk or asleep, I reasoned. I went to bed, figuring I'd hear from her in the morning. I woke up the next morning to sunlight streaming through the blinds and a strange, sinking feeling in my chest. It was 8:30 a.m., and Lisa still wasn't home. I reached for my phone on the nightstand, hoping to see a message or a missed call. Nothing. I frowned, scrolling through our text thread from the night before. My message is, "Hey, how's the party? Hope you're having fun and just checking in. Let me know you're okay." Sat there unread. My call to her was still listed as missed. Normally, I would have assumed she'd stayed overnight like she mentioned, but something about the silence felt off. Lisa was usually good about keeping me in the loop, especially when plans changed. Even when she was out late with friends, she'd shoot me a quick text to let me know she was okay. This time, nothing. I got out of bed, made myself a cup of coffee, and tried to shake the unease creeping up my spine. Maybe she'd forgotten her phone at Jen's or let it die. It wasn't like her, but it wasn't impossible either. I reminded myself that Lisa could handle herself. She was smart, confident, and independent. But as the minutes ticked by, I found myself staring at my phone, willing it to light up with her name. By 9:30 a.m., I couldn't wait any longer. I dialed her number again, and to my relief, it rang this time. After a few tense seconds, she picked up. "Hey," she said, her voice groggy. "Hey," I replied, trying to keep my tone casual. "You okay?" I was getting worried. "Yeah, I'm fine," she said, stifling a yawn. "Sorry, I crashed at Jen's like I said I might. I was just so tired, and I didn't want to drive home that late." Her explanation made sense, but something about her tone felt off. She sounded distracted, like she was in the middle of something. "Everything good?" I asked, trying to keep the conversation light. "Yeah, everything's fine," she said quickly. "I'll be home in a bit, okay? I just need to get my stuff together." "Okay," I said, though the uneasy feeling in my stomach hadn't gone away. "Drive safe." She hung up before I could say anything else. Lisa came home about an hour later, looking tired but otherwise normal. She was wearing the same black lace dress from the night before, though her hair was a little messy and her makeup was smudged. She smiled when she saw me, dropping her bag on the kitchen counter. "Morning," she said, leaning in to kiss me on the cheek. "Sorry if I worried you. The party went later than I expected, and I didn't want to bother you so late." I forced a smile, even though her nonchalant attitude rubbed me the wrong way. "It's fine. I just wish you let me know. I was up for a while wondering if you were okay." Lisa rolled her eyes, brushing past me to grab a glass of water. "Mark, I told you I might stay overnight. You didn't have to worry." She said it with such confidence, like I was the one overreacting. I let it go, not wanting to start an argument first thing in the morning. The rest of the day was uneventful. Lisa spent most of it on the couch, scrolling through her phone or watching TV. I tried to focus on finishing my work, but I couldn't shake the nagging thoughts in the back of my mind. Something about the whole situation didn't sit right with me. A few days passed, and things seemed to go back to normal. Lisa was her usual self, chatty, upbeat, and full of plans for the week. She didn't bring up the party much, and I didn't press her for details. I told myself I was being paranoid, that there was no reason to suspect anything. But then I found the note. It was a Wednesday evening, and Lisa was in the shower. I was in the kitchen, looking for my phone charger, when I noticed her bag on the counter. Normally, I wouldn't go through her things, but the charger was nowhere to be found, and I thought maybe she'd tossed it in there. I unzipped the bag and started sifting through it, keys, lipstick, a pack of gum, when I saw a folded piece of paper tucked in one of the side pockets. It was crumpled, like it had been shoved in there in a hurry. Curious, I pulled it out and unfolded it. My heart dropped as I read the words at the top. Medical examination report. Beneath that was Lisa's name, along with the date, just 2 days after the party. My eyes scanned the page, landing on the section that listed her diagnosis, chlamydia. I stared at the paper, my mind racing. A million thoughts flooded my head, each one more unsettling than the last. Lisa and I had always been monogamous. We hadn't had sex in about a week, but before that, everything had been normal. This didn't make sense. Unless I shoved the paper back into her bag, my hands trembling. When Lisa came out of the shower, I forced myself to act normal, though my heart was pounding in my chest. She smiled at me, completely unaware of what I'd just discovered. "Dinner soon?" she asked, wrapping her hair in a towel. "Yeah," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "Dinner." I spent the next couple of days trying to hold myself together. On the surface, everything looked normal. Lisa was her usual self, chatty, smiling, and completely oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. But every time I looked at her, all I could think about was that piece of paper and what it meant. She had chlamydia, and it sure as hell wasn't from me. I replayed the events of the party over and over in my mind, trying to make sense of it. The late-night silence, the unanswered texts, her coming home in that same dress, hair, and makeup disheveled, the sudden doctor's appointment. It all pointed to one horrifying conclusion. Lisa had slept with someone else. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I had to be smart about it. Lisa was good at talking her way out of things, twisting conversations until you couldn't tell what was true anymore. If I came at her without proof, she'd deny everything, make me feel like I was the crazy one. So I waited, biding my time and watching her every move. On Friday evening, Lisa mentioned she was going out again, this time for dinner with a few coworkers. "Don't wait up," she said, grabbing her purse. "It might run late." Her words were like nails on a chalkboard. Every instinct in me screamed that she was lying, but I forced a smile and nodded. "Have fun," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. As soon as she left, I grabbed her laptop and started searching. I wasn't proud of it, but I didn't care. I needed answers. Lisa was always careful with her phone, but her laptop? That was a different story. I opened her email first, but there was nothing unusual, just work stuff and the occasional online receipt. Then I checked her social media. Again, nothing. But when I opened her Instagram DMs, I hit the jackpot. There was a conversation with a guy named Brandon. The messages weren't explicit, but they didn't need to be. "Brandon, it was great seeing you again. Can't stop thinking about that dress or what's under it. Lisa, LOL, you're terrible. Brandon, maybe, but you didn't seem to mind the other night, winking face." I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. This wasn't just some random misunderstanding. Lisa had cheated on me, and she wasn't even trying to hide it. When she came home later that night, I was sitting in the living room, staring at the floor. She walked in, her heels clicking against the hardwood, and froze when she saw me. "Mark, what's wrong?" I looked up at her, my heart pounding. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but I kept my voice calm. "Who's Brandon?" I asked. Lisa's face went pale. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. "I saw your messages," I said, holding up her laptop. "You want to explain what happened the other night?" For a second, I thought she might tell the truth. But then she shook her head, crossing her arms defensively. "You went through my stuff?" she snapped. "Unbelievable. Do you even trust me at all?" "I trusted you until you gave me a reason not to." I shot back. "Don't turn this around on me, Lisa. I know what you did." She glared at me, her jaw clenched. "Fine," she said after a long pause. "Yes, I met up with Brandon at the party. But nothing happened. We just talked. You're blowing this way out of proportion." I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. "Just talked? Lisa, you went to the doctor 2 days after that party. I found the report in your bag. You have chlamydia." Her eyes widened, and for a moment, she looked genuinely panicked. But then she recovered, her expression hardening. "That's not from Brandon," she said quickly. "It's probably from you." My jaw dropped. "From me? Are you serious right now?" "I don't have chlamydia, Lisa. How the hell would I have given it to you?" She shrugged, avoiding my gaze. "I don't know. Maybe you caught it from someone else. How do I know you've been faithful?" Her words were like a slap in the face. She was cornered, and instead of owning up to what she'd done, she was trying to shift the blame onto me. "I can't believe this," I said, my voice shaking with anger. "You cheat on me, lie about it, and then try to accuse me? Do you have any idea how insane it sounds?" Lisa rolled her eyes, throwing her hands in the air. "You're being ridiculous, Mark. It was one stupid mistake, and now you're acting like it's the end of the world. Just get over it." I stared at her, my chest heaving. The woman standing in front of me was a stranger, a cold, selfish stranger who didn't care about the damage she'd done. "You know what?" I said finally. "I'm done. I'm not going to sit here, and let you gaslight me. We're over, Lisa. I'll be filing for divorce on Monday. Her face twisted in anger. Divorce? You're seriously going to throw away 3 years over this? You threw it away the moment you decided to sleep with someone else, I said, my voice cold. Lisa started yelling, her voice shrill and hysterical, but I didn't care. I walked out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the last few days in my head. Lisa's lies, her defensiveness, the way she tried to twist everything around on me. It all confirmed what I already knew. She had cheated, and there was no coming back from it. By the time the sun came up, my decision was final. I spent the morning gathering my thoughts and putting together a plan. If Lisa wanted to play games, she could do it without me. When I walked into the living room, she was sitting on the couch, scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. "Good morning," she said, her tone icy. "Morning," I replied flatly. I could tell she was still fuming from our fight the night before, but I didn't care. I had nothing left to say to her. Not yet, at least. Instead, I grabbed my laptop and started drafting a separation agreement. I wasn't about to let her drag this out longer than necessary. A couple of hours later, Lisa walked into the room, her arms crossed. "So, what's the plan here, Mark?" she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Are you just going to ignore me until I magically become the bad guy in your little narrative?" I looked up at her, my expression calm. "You already are the bad guy, Lisa. You cheated on me. You lied about it. And now you're trying to act like I'm the problem. I'm done playing this game." Her face turned red, and I could see the anger building behind her eyes. "I already told you it wasn't like that. It was just one night, and it didn't mean anything. You're seriously going to blow up our marriage over this?" "Yes," I said without hesitation, "because I deserve better than someone who disrespects me and lies to my face." Lisa threw her hands in the air, letting out a bitter laugh. "You're unbelievable, Mark. You think you're so perfect, don't you? Like you've never made a mistake in your life." "This isn't a mistake, Lisa. A mistake is forgetting to take the trash out or burning dinner. What you did was a choice, a deliberate, selfish choice to betray me." She glared at me, her chest heaving. "Fina, you want a divorce? Go ahead. But don't think for a second that you're going to come out of this looking like the victim. I'll make sure everyone knows how controlling and paranoid you've been. I'll tell them you were the one who drove me to it." Her words hit me like a gut punch, but I refused to let her see how much they hurt. "Say whatever you want," I said, my voice steady. "The truth will come out eventually, and you'll have to live with the consequences of your actions." Lisa stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. For the rest of the day, she avoided me, retreating to the bedroom and leaving me to deal with the mess she'd created. Over the next few weeks, the divorce process began in earnest. I filed the paperwork, contacted a lawyer, and started separating our finances. Lisa fought me every step of the way, refusing to sign anything without a fight. She accused me of being petty, of trying to ruin her life, but I didn't care. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. One evening, as I was packing up some of my things, I found an old photo album tucked away in the back of a closet. It was from our first year together, back when everything seemed so perfect. I flipped through the pages, seeing the smiles, the laughter, the memories we'd built together. It hurt. It hurt to see how far we'd fallen, how much we'd lost. But as painful as it was, it also reminded me of why I had to let her go. The woman in those photos wasn't the same person standing in front of me now. Somewhere along the way, she'd changed, and no amount of love or effort on my part could fix that. The final blow came a few days later. Lisa showed up at the house unannounced, demanding to talk. "I've been thinking," she said, her tone softer than usual. "Maybe we can work this out. I know I screwed up, but we've been through so much together. Doesn't that count for something?" For a split second, I almost believed her. But then I saw the look in her eyes, the same manipulative glint I'd seen 100 times before. This wasn't an apology. It was a last-ditch effort to regain control. "No, Lisa," I said firmly. "It doesn't count for anything when you can't even take responsibility for what you did. I'm done." She stared at me, her expression a mix of anger and disbelief. "You're really going to throw everything away?" You already did, I said. I'm just making it official. She didn't say another word. She grabbed her purse and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. In the end, the divorce was messy, but it was worth it. I moved out of the house, started fresh in a new city, and began rebuilding my life. It wasn't easy, but with time, I started to heal. As for Lisa, I heard through mutual friends that she'd tried to spin the story her way, painting me as the controlling, paranoid husband. But the truth has a funny way of coming out, and eventually, people started to see her for who she really was. Looking back, I don't regret anything. Walking away from Lisa was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the best decision I've ever made. Because for the first time in years, I finally feel free.